In this episode 33 of the Daily Hustle Show, we are talking about the formula for entrepreneurial success, how opportunity, money, and opportunity hustle will lead to your future success. And also, Sam Parker shows off his new basketball move that we've never seen before.
Broadcasting from the box that rocks and Thrive15.com world headquarters, it's the Daily Hustle with Daniel McKenna.
What is going on, folks? It is episode 33, the Larry Bird episode of the Daily Hustle Show. Sitting over there, the one and only Marshall F. Morris, sitting over here, Daniel McKenna. And today we are talking about the formula for entrepreneurial success, opportunity money, and opportunity hustle. And we're going to dive into the lives and the careers of two big-time entrepreneurs that you have heard of, and kind of dissect some of the stuff that they are doing that has led to their success. And Marshall, I'm pretty excited about today. I like today's content. I like it.
I don't know why you didn't name this episode 33, the Marshall Morris at Ohio Wesleyan University episode.
Oh, wow. I did not know you were 33 there.
I did.
What's going on, guys? Daniel McKenna here at the Daily Hustle Show, episode 33, the Marshall Morris at Ohio Wesleyan episode. Sitting over there, Marshall Morris, episode 33, in honor of Marshall Morris. Sitting over here, Daniel McKenna. And today we are talking about the formula for entrepreneurial success, opportunity money, and opportunity hustle.
Also known as the Larry Bird episode.
I am excited to jump into this stuff because this stuff is fascinating to me. Marshall, are you ready to dive into this stuff?
Let's do it. I'm psyched.
This is your episode, you know. So, which means you get to call the shots. You get to do whatever you want.
All right. Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. So first of all, the first concept is about opportunity money. And this isn't anything new. This is more of a refresher. This is a renewing of the mind here for you, with the listeners at home, to remember how this whole thing works, this whole game works. We're talking about opportunity money. Talking about Mark Cuban here. And talking about living cheap so you can use resources to pursue opportunities. That's right. Let's talk about this. Marshall, Mark Cuban. Do you know the Mark Cuban story? Do you know very much about it?
I just know a little bit about him, but I don't know much about his starting out point.
He's got a cool story. Basically, and there's even more about his story we'll get into later. Okay. But as it applies to the living cheap part of his story here, when he moved to Dallas, he lived in an apartment. There was an apartment there with 5 dudes in it, and he went to school with one of the dudes, and he moved in with them in that apartment. So there were 6 dudes in the apartment, and he literally slept on the couch or the floor. Like, there was 2 roommates that lived in the living room. He was one of them, and they shifted off between the couch and the floor. And they split the $750 rent 6 ways.
Inexpensive.
Rather inexpensive.
Yeah.
As far as living expenses go.
Right.
I have even more about his story specifically, about how he got started, how he was able to start building his empire. But a quote that Cuban has in his book, How to Win at the Sport of Business, he says, "It doesn't matter how you live. It doesn't matter what car you drive. It doesn't matter what kind of clothes you wear. The more you stress over bills, the more difficult it is to focus on your goals. The cheaper you can live, the greater your options." So, Marshall, we're talking about cutting expenses to give yourself some room to then spend that money you would have been spending on stuff you didn't ultimately have to have,
right,
on things that give you opportunities to build your business.
Mm-hmm. So opportunity money is money that you're going to eventually want to spend on getting ahead. Okay.
Right.
So in order to do that, you got to really consolidate everything that you are spending money on and just strip it out. So a good example would be for Clay Clark, the founder of Thrive15.com, U.S. Small Business Administration Entrepreneur of the Year. For him, stripping out the expenses of TV and huge meals and air conditioning.
Right.
That was when those were the things that he wanted to strip out to be able to live below his means, so he had the opportunity money to market his business.
His 99-cent chicken panini story. They lived on 99-cent chicken paninis. They did not have air conditioning in their apartment, him and his new wife at the time. Still wife, but just new at the time, Vanessa. That's how they lived as he was getting the DJ business off the ground.
Yeah.
so he could buy Yellow Page ads.
Yeah. And that's what you have to do to create that opportunity money.
So this is a big concept here that maybe some people aren't comfortable with because it's not comfortable to live that way. It's below maybe the way you grew up or below maybe what you want to be doing, like how you want to be living. But this is how they got started.
That's right.
My specific story, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. This is kind of like, maybe 20, 30 years from now, you'll be able to look back and be like, that was a cool story. This is kind of like the Phoenix story, right?
Yeah.
My specific story, I was after school, was selling insurance, hated it, quit doing that. Coaching basketball, something I was doing during school too. Getting paid an entire, I believe it was $1,500 for the season.
Nice.
I think I had a $1,500 for the season salary going. And I remember the Christmas bonus of $100 was like a really big deal. And at the time, the season was ending. I had to find a way to make money till the next season because I really liked coaching basketball. That was my thing. And my friends were making money DJing on the weekends. And I thought, I'll DJ on the weekends until next basketball season. And that turned into working with Clay on DJ Connection, which turned into later on making enough money working at DJ Connection to help start Epic Photography, which turned into several years later making enough money working in Epic Photography to then have money to invest into Thrive 15, which is what I do now. The only reason I had the money to be a big part of what we're doing here is because of those kind of stair-stepping. And the whole time I was living with 3 or 4 dudes in a house, tons of roommates, living in we lived like right on the border of very, very poor. Like right across the street was very, very poor, and we were like just above very, very poor for a long time.
I got it.
And that's how it was. And I'm like I said, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but that's like this is the stuff I subscribe to. This is the stuff that I've seen like actual results.
Yeah.
And then the other side of this, the other side of the opportunity money, is the opportunity hustle. The opportunity hustle here. Any last thoughts on opportunity money before we keep going here? We talked about Clay. We talked about Mark Cuban. A little bit about my background. Any last thoughts on the opportunity money before we jump over to the opportunity hustle? You
just got to do it. You got to automatically deduct it out of your account, set aside money, reduce your costs of living, make it a game. It's not going to be fun. Everybody that's successful has gone through this. Let's do it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Short and concise. I like it. Opportunity hustle. Opportunity hustle. Now we are talking about using the job you have now to get the job you want in the future. Okay? So maybe you're in a spot where it's not like, this is not my ideal job. I'm supposed to be doing what I love. I want to be doing something else. But you can't get to that something else yet.
Right.
Talking about using the job you have now to get the job you want in the future. We're going to go back to Mark Cuban here.
Okay.
Going back to some Mark Cuban here. Mark Cuban's entrepreneurial journey when he was a kid who would go door to door selling garbage bags so he could pay for basketball shoes, which is awesome. That's the kind of stuff I'm going to raise my kids to do. Like, that's awesome. The school, he went to Indiana here, the Hoosiers, because that was the cheapest school. Like, that was like the most he could afford. That's why he went to Indiana.
Sure.
He never even went to the campus. Sight unseen was like, well, that's the best I can do. That's all I can afford. And then while he was in school, to pay for school, he was doing things like, and honestly, I don't know how he made money doing this. He was starting chain letters. Apparently that was a thing in the 70s. Chain letters to pay for school, as well as teaching disco dancing lessons for $25 an hour.
He's a hustler.
He's a hustler. He was teaching disco dance lessons for $25 an hour to pay for school.
That's right.
Because that's all he could afford. He also went on to start a bar at the school. He started a bar at the school at Indiana with some friends. It was a big, he played rugby. I did not know this part. He played rugby at Indiana. Started a bar at the school also to keep paying for stuff. Then the bar got shut down because there was underage drinkers. I mean, he's on college campus. I don't know how strict they were at the door, but underage drinking, they shut down the bar. Oh,
you got a pulse. You're good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Later on, he moved to Dallas, lived in that famous apartment now. It's now famous, getting a bartending job. Here's a quote from one of his 5 roommates at the time. He said, We'd each buy a bag of potatoes that you could microwave and eat for $1 a day. And each day we'd grab for the want ads looking for a new job.
That was his thing. Just trying to figure it out.
They would throw parties with people at the apartment. They'd eat potatoes because they could eat for $1 a day, and they would consistently look for a different job in the want ads. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's not necessarily where you want to start. Mm-mm. Okay. He went on to get a job at a computer store, knowing nothing about computers.
Yeah.
Similar to the Clay Clark story of getting a job at an accounting firm and knowing nothing about accounting.
Yeah, it's just like, who will hire me?
Where can I get a job that will pay me? Computers, totally. I totally know about computers.
Yeah.
I'll do it. So he got that job at the computer store. Would at night take home big thick manuals, big thick software manuals, read about them to actually start learning about the stuff he's supposed to be selling.
Yeah.
And then eventually he closes a big software deal with a client. Only problem was he was supposed to be at the shop opening up the shop. Instead, he went to go close this deal.
Yeah.
So he brings this like $15,000 check home to the business owner, like, bam, look at this. I got this sweet deal. Just closed this sweet deal. Except he was supposed to be opening up the retail store, so he just fired him.
It's amazing.
So this is how he was like getting started. This is how he's getting started, getting his feet wet. He said he knew all along that he wanted to be an entrepreneur. He wanted to have his own business. Mm-hmm. His quotes said, "I worked jobs I didn't like. I worked jobs I loved, but had no chance of being a career. I worked jobs that barely paid the rent. I knew I would end up owning my own business someday, so I figured my challenge was to learn as much as anyone about all businesses. I believe that every job I took was really getting me paid to learn about a new industry."
Growth mindset approach.
So he just took whatever job he could get, feeling like, okay, this will allow me to learn about this industry and make some money while I'm trying to figure out how I get to where I actually want to be. Mm-hmm. As you are working with your double baker's dozen of clients, how many of those business owners are where they ultimately want to be? Like, they're like, I am cool. Where I am right now is actually where I've always dreamed about being.
Zero. Yeah, none of them.
0 out of the double baker's dozen.
That's right.
Okay, so they are still on their journey.
Yes.
And they are figuring out how they can do the things that they're doing better.
Yeah.
And keep stepping up.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Any insight on that? Any context you want to give us about the stepping journey and the amount of opportunity hustle you have to put in to give yourself the opportunity for the next step?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different quotes and mindsets and mentalities about this. One of which is, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Okay? Mostly because the competition's getting better and therefore you're losing position. Okay? So Mark Cuban, he says you got to act like somebody's working 24 hours a day to beat you. Okay? That's how hard you should be working.
I love that quote.
And so you just have to put in the hustle, okay? Or don't complain. Put in the hustle, okay? And be comfortable with that amount of hustle. Put in the amount of time that you need to put in order to get to your goals based on the timeline that you've set for yourself. For Mark Cuban, it was, I'm going to hustle and learn as much as I can. I know that I probably don't want to bag groceries. I know I probably don't want to bartend the rest of my life. But, hey, I'm learning about people and I'm learning about business and I'm failing along the way. And it's okay because that's not ultimately what I want to do long term. But this experience is invaluable. So Thomas Watson, we've quoted it in the past, the founder of IBM, he says the only way to increase your success rate is to double your failure rate. Okay?
Yep.
So what is it that you could be doing? What is it that you could be hustling? If you know that you're going to encounter hiccups along the way, let's get through those hiccups faster. Let's get through that adversity faster. Let's just go faster through it. That doesn't mean that you have to be looking for ways to fail. That doesn't mean that you have to plan on failing, okay? But don't be surprised. It's just part of it that everybody goes through. Mark Cuban and every other very successful entrepreneur has experienced that adversity along that road.
For context here for the people at home, you are now in a spot where you are coaching businesses all the time based on the systems we have set up here.
Yeah.
Now, you joined Thrive back when it had just started a little. Like, how long had Thrive been a thing when you joined?
I believe 4.
Yeah, just a few months.
Yeah, 4 months. Actually, I think less. I think like 2 months after the hard launch, but like it'd been being built for maybe like a year and a half.
Okay, so been being built behind the scenes a year and a half. 4 months or so after it launched, that's when you joined the team.
That's right.
Okay, and before you came, and since you've been here, and since you've been here, like since we've like recently been here, there's been people that have come and gone inside the building
Oh yeah.
that would like to be doing the things that you're doing currently.
Yes.
Okay, so as a chance for me to brag on you and you to brag on yourself, but because I'm telling you to brag on yourself,
Okay.
why are you still around? Why are you in a position now that you're doing things that not only are you experiencing massive growth for what you want to do, but you're also being able to help these businesses because you're being put in a position to be able to help those businesses. Kind of it's not. I mean, it's a lot of work. And it takes a lot of skill to do what you do, but it's also somewhat of it's a position to look up to. Like if you just start here now, you're like, that's what I want to do one day. I want to be able to help coach these businesses. Mm-hmm. Why are you still here, and why are others not here?
Well, 3 years ago, I set goals and set parameters within which I will work, and I've created different check-in points where I check in with myself.
Say chicken points?
Yeah, chicken points.
Different chicken points.
It's kind of like a appetizer.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Not to be confused with check-in points.
Yeah, I would not, because this sounds like a rewards card thing.
Yeah.
For maybe Chicken Express.
No.
Oh.
It's a check-in point.
Oh, check-in points.
Yeah, check-in point.
Okay. I just want to clarify for the listeners.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the different milestones where I review, am I progressing towards my ultimate goal? Okay. And so that allows me to put that completely out of my mind until that point, until that time where I'm supposed to check in with myself. Okay. So I would say that's the first thing, like what has enabled me to do that. The second thing is just like constantly learning. Okay. And so the way to engage yourself is learning. In learning about things, so even if it is something that you don't want to be doing long term, even if you don't want to be managing a bar long term, how can I engage myself with learning and dealing with people, or what can I be learning on the side that keeps me engaged so that the work is the work and the reward is getting to learn something that you are passionate about, okay? And that's how you can like hack your mind into helping yourself get beyond, maybe a job that you don't like, or maybe getting beyond the work that you don't want to be doing. Make the reward the growth towards that bigger goal.
And I'm glad you just like perfectly segued for me here.
Oh, okay.
Unintentionally, but you did well. Well
Okay,
done. Thank
thanks.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that example. Talking about learning and that hustle opportunity that you're creating for yourself. Mark Cuban selling garbage bags or teaching disco or starting a bar or bartending. He didn't know specifically what he was doing, but he knew he wanted to be doing something bigger. He knew he wanted to have his own business. He takes that computer business job because it's a job. He's learning about computers and software on the side, like he's spending the time learning on this stuff. He gets fired. His next thing is he starts his own software business. This is the guy that had no idea what computers, had no idea about computers. Had to teach himself about computers for this job. That software business he started was Micro Solutions that he sold for $6 million. He then used that money to start Broadcast.com, which he ended up selling to Yahoo for $5.9 billion. This is what made him a billionaire. This is what made him able to buy the Mavericks. So if he didn't take the time to learn and to study things he didn't know and grow himself, he must have seen an opportunity somewhere. Otherwise, why would he have done that?
That's right.
But he spent time thinking, you know what, this computer thing, this software thing might be a big deal. Mm-hmm. I'm going to spend a lot of my free time learning this. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, he thinks he's doing a good job. He closed the big deal. He gets fired. And now he can use that knowledge to start something he actually wanted to be doing. And that's what got him on his path.
That's right.
One more story here about humble beginnings and turning something small into something a little bit larger, and then a little bit larger, and then something big. We've talked about Gary Vaynerchuk a lot on this show. Mm-hmm. Gary Vaynerchuk. Did you know very much about Gary Vaynerchuk's background? Do you know anything about this?
I do now because I've bought into his teaching.
Okay, Gary Vaynerchuk. Before we get to the punchline, the end here, He was born in the Soviet Union, communist country, by the way. Immigrated to the U.S., which wasn't allowed, but they allowed it for Soviet Jews because America made a deal with them in exchange for wheat. So America exchanged wheat for the Jews that lived in Soviet Union. And that's why Gary Vaynerchuk and his family were able to move to America. So he didn't start with much.
No.
When they got here, they lived in a studio apartment, him and his 8 family members.
Sure.
That's right. Him and his 8 family members moved into a studio apartment in Queens. Eventually moved into Edison, New Jersey, where his dad started a wine store. Grew that wine store up to $3 million in revenue. Now, it was a little bit less than 10% profit, so it was like margins were like thin. But they're doing some business, $3 million in revenue.
Yeah.
Once Gary gets out of college, he took over that, started building. He saw the internet as like the new frontier, right? When YouTube wasn't even really a thing, he started doing the wine library TV. He started building this thing big from a $3 million a year business to a $60 million a year business when he took off. He used that money to start building VaynerMedia and to invest in, little things called like Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr and Birchbox and Uber and HubSpot, just small things like that. As he was growing VaynerMedia, and then has now turned VaynerMedia into a 9-figure business. They're doing hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue each year based on his hustle. And I mean, he's obviously a brilliant guy. He obviously knows how to sell. He obviously knows how to get people's attention. He obviously knows how to market. But they started very, very small, and he hustled his way all the way up. That opportunity hustle. He started with what he had, built a little bit bigger, and then built a little bit bigger, and built a little bit bigger, and now is working on something that is big. Like his very public goal is he wants to buy the New York Jets.
Yeah.
And I personally hope he can buy the New York Jets. I mean, that's a cool story.
Yeah.
To know it like from back now to like maybe 20 years from now when he buys the New York Jets.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One of the things that I like about his story that he talks about, and the reason why I like him is because he has built real businesses. He took a real business, a liquor store, and grew the revenue.
Yeah.
And he did that on social media.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he went into a period of investing and promoting his business tips, his education, business education, if you will.
Yeah.
Social media education about business and his story on social media. And he did that for a long time. And the moment, one of the moments that contributed to him wanting to start VaynerMedia was when more people knew him for his social media antics than the fact that he actually was a successful business builder.
Right.
And he's like, damn it. People know me as the social media guy. They forget that I actually like built a business. I got to go build another.
Yeah.
And so he goes and builds $100 million business.
And if you do some research on him and you look into like, why is Gary Vaynerchuk a scam? Why is he? It's because all these people are like, he's just a social media hack. He's just the Twitter guy. He's just he's just doing this Facebook stuff because he's invested in it. He's like, well, okay, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to go build a giant media agency just to stick it in your face.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. One more real life story here. One more real life story, because these stories are very big, and obviously these are the kind of stories that we're trying to work towards one day. Maybe not this big for you at home, but maybe you are wanting to do something this big, but something more real, more like real life, more like present life. I didn't even really plan on talking about this, but I feel like it fits. The whole reason I had money to be able to start Epic Photography, be able to like a co-founder at Epic Photography, is because I was able to work myself into a raise at DJ Connection, into a bigger like production manager position. Now, how did I get that job? Well, it's because we were opening up a Dallas office.
Yeah.
And we did not have anybody in Dallas to be working there. So I would pack up my minivan with 3 to 4 DJ systems, whatever I could fit in there.
Yeah.
And I would leave on usually Thursday, sometimes Friday, drive down to Dallas, and we would like Craigslist, like hiring DJs, and tell them, meet me in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a spot to train anybody. I'd say, meet me in a parking lot. We're going to do some DJ training.
Sure.
By the way, we don't have any power, so you're going to have to just pretend that these buttons work. Just pretend that these buttons work. Pretend that, okay, get up on the mic, make this announcement, and assume that, you're going to be able to hear it through the speakers. You want to like really talk through the mic, like doing DJ training. And then I would DJ Friday night, and I would DJ Saturday night, and I would DJ Sunday night on Dallas, loading out gear to different DJs, loading in gear from those shows. I would load them in from shows on Sunday night, get done by, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. sometimes, depending on how late the shows went. And then I would drive straight back to Tulsa. Why? Because we had a 7 a.m. meeting. And that 7 a.m. meeting, if I was 1 minute late for it, would charge me $80.
So you're like, Clay, can I get a pass? I'm driving in from Dallas. What'd he say?
There was no pass to be given. There was no pass to be given.
No, but you can be on time.
So one of the spots that's in between Dallas and Tulsa is Okmulgee. And I can't count how many times I saw the sunrise over Okmulgee driving back to Tulsa.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful sunrise out there in Okmulgee.
Yeah.
And I would typically roll into the 7 a.m. meeting, haven't slept, and I'm like a ghost. I'm just like, what? I'm physically here, but I'm not really listening. I can't hear anything you're saying. But I did this for 9 months.
Yeah.
9 months every weekend. This is what I would do.
Nice.
And why did I do that? Because that was my only opportunity to try to move up. I didn't know what I could I didn't know what kind of opportunity it was going to give me. I just saw it as a way to get out of what I was doing. And so I did this, and eventually, after 9 months of building it and getting people down there, and then they were like, okay, it's cool. You don't have to go down there every weekend anymore. We're going to go ahead and move you into this production manager job, which, by the way, paid me a lot better than what I was getting paid.
Yeah.
So that's one real life, that's real life story. So even if I never progressed past the point I am right now, I owe a lot of my success to that 9 months of not really knowing what I was doing, but just doing it over and over and over, and it sucked.
And that's the hottest of sauces.
Mm-hmm. You ever slept on the side of the highway in a van full of DJ gear, Marshall?
Yes, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Suburban.
That's the high life right there. That's a luxury.
Yeah.
That's a luxury. Okay, so we talked about the Mark Cuban story. We talked about the Gary Vaynerchuk story. And we talked about this formula for entrepreneurial success. Wherever you are, wherever stage you are in, this is the stuff that will work. This is the stuff that will get you there. It's living cheap, as cheap as you can, so you can build up money to use that money to buy other opportunity, to buy other resources, to buy chances at what you want to do. Maybe you need to get into Facebook ads. Maybe you don't have money for Facebook ads or know how it works. Well, maybe you need to live a little cheaper so you can have some money to spend on Facebook ads and mess them up for the first $100, $200, $500 while you're learning how it all works. And then you can start using that knowledge and that extra money to start building even further from there. I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what it is, where your growth pattern lies, where your growth limiters lie, but this is the formula that works over and over and over and over and over. Which, by the way, it's a long-term strategy.
Yeah.
It's a very long-term strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And as all the kids are saying these days, that's the hottest of sauces.
The hottest of sauces.
The hottest of sauces.
Hot sizzle.
Okay. That's all I got. That's all I got today, Marshall.
I'm excited.
That's all I got today. The formula for entrepreneurial success, opportunity money, and opportunity hustle is what's going to get you where you want to go. That was episode 33, the Marshall Morris at Ohio Wesleyan episode.
Also known as the Larry Bird episode.
If you want to take it there.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can, if you want to. Did you know that Larry Bird was the MVP 3 years in a row?
I did.
I did not know that. Pretty impressive. That's pretty close to Larry Bird being the LeBron James of his time. 3 MVPs in a row.
I feel passionately about that, and I don't know that this is the platform to get into it.
You still hold it against him that he went to Miami.
I won't say anything bad about him.
That's kind of you. That's kind of you to be the bigger man.
On air.
Okay, Marshall, let's get into the wins of the week. Right before we went on air, we had one of our greatest ideas of all time. And that was traveling around to different rec league games in suits, pretending that we are color commentators, and producing a NBA level type broadcast around a rec league game.
Yeah.
And I don't see what kind of profit at all could be made from this, but it's more of just it'd be really funny.
Yeah.
And it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So I need you to announce the daily wins of the week as if you were color commentating a rec league basketball game.
I need some kind of something. I need this. I got it. It's totally worth it, Dan, and it's what all the listeners want.
Whoa.
Yep.
All the listeners.
Yep. It's all what they want. You got to give the people what they want. Oh, come on.
I did not realize if you talk into the mic down here, it sounds much deeper. Like you're doing right now. You're making a bunch of noises into like the middle part of the mic. Maybe I should start talking like this all the time. My voice is a little bit higher on the register. Maybe I need to start talking
just down there.
My name is Daniel McKenna.
We need this. Give it to me.
Okay. Oh, yes. This is what we needed. This is what we needed for sure. All right, you know what you have to do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Dan McKenna bringing the ball up the court. He crosses over to his left. He spins back to the right. He passes the ball over to Sam Parker, the producer of the Daily Hustle Show. Sam gets the ball. He jab fakes. We don't know what he's doing. He's continuing to jab fake. Then a pump fake, passes the ball over to Marshall Morris. Marshall Morris makes a spin into the lane. He doesn't shoot the ball, but he takes it back out to the three-point line. He passes over back to Dan McKenna. Dan McKenna pump fakes, and then he passes it back. And then Dan McKenna throws the alley-oop over to Marshall Morris, who catches the ball, slams, dunks it, and gives you the daily wins of the week.
That was good. That was very good. Also, a lot of jab fakes from Sam. We're going
to talk about that in the post-game review.
Really analyzing those jab fakes.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and give me, there's two of them here. Only use one of them. Just choose whatever one you want to use. Only use one of them. Give me the daily win of the week.
Oh, my gosh. I had to go to a very dark place to be able to do that one. I blacked out. I don't know what happened. So the daily win of the week this week is one of the clients that we're working with, Phone Doctors.
Yeah.
Phone Doctors.
Yep.
They have 12 stores, and now they are starting to expand. So big shout out to Phone Doctors, everybody over there at Phone Doctors. And so the way that they're doing it is they are just literally going out and cold calling phone stores, okay, and getting their business to repair the phones, splitting the revenue. And so right now they've just added 4 new stores.
4 new stores they're working with.
Yeah, so it is incredible. It's a weird deal, okay? And so from this daily win of the week, I'm going to give them another action item.
Oh, really?
If you just want more business, just call your leads and call people. It's a weird deal. You call people, you book them for business, and there's no way getting around that. So you just call your leads. I'm writing a new book. Did I tell you about this?
No.
It's called Call Your Leads.
Really?
Yeah. It's 800 pages of just call your leads.
Did you quit working on Without Sales, You Will Fails?
No, that's like the subtitle.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's
Call Your Leads, Without Sales, You Will Fails.
That's right.
By number 33, Marshall F. Morris.
Maybe I attribute the foreword to you.
Oh, wow.
And you can put in there, Without Sales, You Will Fails. And that's the entire foreword to the book.
That would save me a lot of time.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I've just written the foreword for Marshall Morris's new book called Call Your Leads.
Yeah.
So look for that at your local Borders.
Yeah. Borders.
Are Borders still around? Are Borders still a thing?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, look for that at your local Borders. Without call, or what is it called? Call Your Leads.
Call Your
Call
Leads.
Your Leads. Okay. Well, that was episode 33 of the Daily Hustle, ladies and gentlemen. Get out there, start building some opportunity money for yourself with that opportunity hustle. That is the formula for entrepreneurial success, and that's what we want for you. If you don't know what we do, Sam, show them. Go to thrivetimeshow.com/workshops. It's a 2-day, 16-hour business extravaganza that's going to change how you do business. We're going to show you the steps you need to take to hustle to build that opportunity money for yourself. If you don't know about us enough yet, go to thrive15.com. You can fill out a business evaluation form, find out where you rank, where your business ranks in, I don't know, how many different categories? Like 30? 30
Yeah.
32?
Yeah.
Like something like 32 different categories. See where your business ranks. And if you tell them the Daily Hustle Show sent you, you're going to get that book, Thrive, for free. How to Take Control of Your Destiny and Move Beyond Surviving Now. That's the book you're going to get for free from the founder of Thrive 15, COO of Thrive 15, Clay Clark, for free. You just got to tell them that the Daily Hustle Show sent you.
Hot sizzle.
The hottest of sauces.
The hottest of sauces.
The hottest of sauces. That has been episode 33 over there. Marshall F. Morris over here. Daniel McKenna behind the camera. Jab faking Sam Parker. And we will see you next time. Boom.